So here we go. In 5, 4, 3. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chronic Book Club, where we smoke chronic, then talk comics. My name is Al Taylor. With me, as always, the diabetes to my Wilford Brimley, Mike Wood.
Diabetes.
And the ham hawks to my collard greens, Mr. Chris Jakes.
Yeehaw.
Gentlemen, how are we? How we doing?
Good. I coughed from smoking too much weed, and now I'm hurting. But hey, I'm an old man. My warranty expired on my birthday, so
a work-related injury then.
yeah, it's work-related.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Then, what do you guys? What are we smoking this week?
I'm smoking on some day wrecker. It's got me fucked up, yeah. It tastes like gasoline. I'm so high. I'm so high. Day wrecker. It's day wrecker.
Day wrecker.
Amazing. I love it.
Woody, what about
Walker.
you? What about you?
Gelato. We got some gelato, and then just some homegrown doobie weed.
Oh yeah, so you can smoke doobies again. That's right.
I am the homegrown doobie weed.
Yeah.
All the homegrown doobie weed out there.
I am smoking some Aurora, which is absolutely awesome. Yeah, ready to go. Of course, everything we are reading.
I'm already high as shit.
I already am. Everything we're reading can actually be found on Marvel Unlimited, with over 25,000 new and classic Marvel titles. Escape your reality by entering the Marvel Universe and Comixology with publishers such as DC, Image, and Boom. Immerse yourself in the world of comics. Over 75,000 comics. Both are available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. And Chris, do you want to tell everyone who's sponsoring today's episode?
Oh boy, do I. Today's episode is brought to you by Funk Farm. Hey, wait, that's my farm. That's my farm. We here at Funk Farm provide regenerative farming solutions for both medicinal and recreational problems. There is no space too small or too big for Funk Farm to help you get the funk in. We also provide a large selection of genetic potential for your garden, heirloom, preserved, and bred with love right here on our family farm. Funk Farm, helping people heal at home.
Oh, Chris, that's awesome. That being said, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe. I mean, your Funk Farm's already doing a great job on me, man. I can tell you that right now. But as far as the Chronic Book Club, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment with your questions and input below. Guys, of course, we have been discussing.
Input below?
No, not that. Not yet.
Okay.
Give us a little bit, Woody. We've been discussing the comics, of course, that have influenced the television, Disney Plus, Wanda Vision. The past couple of episodes, we talked about 2005's House of M by Brian Michael Bendis, and we obviously, found some major influence. But guys, I have to say, being a comic book fan, this West Coast Avengers run, Vision Quest. I know you guys are unfamiliar, might be unfamiliar with a couple of comics at home, and that's why you guys are tuning in. But I think, we definitely saw the influence with House of M. I think with this Vision Quest, we are, going to start to see a lot of similarities. So the Vision Quest storyline actually begins in 1989's 42nd issue of West Coast Avengers. Now, one of the things that I'd like to talk to you right off the bat, this was actually written in 1989. Starting back then, they actually had what was called the Marvel Way of Comics with, for instance, a lot of these characters that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had created. Stan Lee came up with the ideas. He gave it off to Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was actually the one who started drawing these characters. And so that would get done a lot. Another thing that would get done a lot is the person who was writing the comic would actually be the penciler themselves. And, right here is a perfect example with John Byrne. He is the writer and he is also the penciler.
And welcome
Other than-
aboard, meaning was this his first Marvel comic?
No, this was actually not his first Marvel comic. John Byrne, he actually, his big thing before this was helping write the Uncanny X-Men Days of Future Past storyline.
So this is just his first time on a West Coast Avengers.
Yes, correct. And also, he's got Mike Macklin, who is mainly a DC artist, as our anchor. Paul Betcon is the colorist, and Bill Oakley as our letterer. These first couple of pages of West Coast Avengers, we start seeing Scarlet Witch. She's at the Avengers compound. She wakes up, can't find Vision, whatever. No big deal to start off with. She didn't hear him leave. I don't know. But right on these first couple of pages, we have Wanda Maximoff with some twin babies. So, right there, we already have some Wanda Vision influence. Going through our pages, she's searching around the Avengers compound, and to no avail, doesn't find Vision, but she does find Hawkeye practicing. These next couple of pages, the banter back and forth, with a lot of these 80s, early 90s comics, one thing I'm sure both of you guys noticed is, definitely the writing is that like 1950s cheesy comic code authority.
I love
it. It's a little different.
I read it in Stan Lee's voice the whole time, which was fun. And there's the Hawkeye.
It's like Stan Lee reading bedtime stories to you. Real quick point. Unlike House of M, it's important to note that these two twins are in fact Billy and Tommy. These are the same twins that we watched in WandaVision, while the twins that we read in House of M were not the twins from WandaVision.
They were just babies, yep. And going through the series, they actually, we'll get into, the babies and, their nannies, which is pretty incredible. But these last couple of pages, it was just kind of banter between Hawkeye and the Scarlet Witch. One of the instances I definitely noticed, kind of like a House of M, where Hawkeye had shot Scarlet Witch and she made the arrow disappear, and then she made Hawkeye disappear. Just kind of goes to show how powerful these Avengers are.
Also, in that conversation between the two of them in House of M, Hawkeye saying, "We were teammates. I loved you as a friend. We fought beside each other." What he's referring to in that dialogue in House of M is this series of West Coast Avengers, they serve together.
Yep.
I love when he lets fly his lethal shaft.
Yeah, you love that lethal shaft, Woody.
I love his lethal shaft.
Oh, some of this writing. So going through,
it's like it was pre-context. Like just context didn't exist yet.
I just love being back in the 80s and 90s with this. That's the thing with it. Like everything about it is just such a. I feel like a kid.
It's campy. I feel like a kid. It's very campy,
Yeah.
So now we have Vision and the Scarlet Witch both looking, Wanda or Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye. Holy moly. Thank you, Funk Farm. Now looking for Vision, and we have another one of our West Coast Avengers, Hank Pym, Ant-Man, Giant Man, whatever it is this week. And while talking to Hawkeye and Wanda, he realizes that they're both in trouble. Something's wrong. Certain parts of the security system in computers are fried, and he rushes up to see our heroes battling Ultron. Right here, guys, also, one of the talking about WandaVision getting comparisons, we have right here WandaVision talking about her hex power. Now, her hex power.
The neutralizing of the hex power by Ultron, I did not understand how that was even possible.
Well,
yeah.
So
it's. Oh yeah, you got this, Al.
Yeah. Sorry. So that's one of the things is a lot of this writing I wish made sense a couple of pages later, because it's like they retcon a couple of pages and it kind of doesn't make sense. But as far as talking about her hex power, compared to WandaVision, in WandaVision, when we were talking about the hex, we were talking about a force field. And in episode 5, Darcy, Kat Dennings, named it the hex. Obviously in the show it relates to the shape, but in the comic the deeper goes much more than that. Scarlet Witch's abilities, specifically the ones she's used in early Marvel comics, before Wanda started using chaos magic and warping abilities, she was actually known for the use of her like hex bolts. And I mean, that's going all the way back to 1964 X-Men's 4, which was her first debut.
I think that's something we're going to talk about in next week's video a lot, probably, because Wanda actually has two sets of powers. She has her hex powers, and then she has the chaos magic that she's gotten as well. And we're starting to see that come into play in the MCU, where she has her magic. She is a witch, but then she got amplified by the Mind Stone, and that's kind of how the parallel's working. She has two power sets, and that's really important to understand about the Scarlet Witch and Wanda. It's almost like Wanda has one set of powers and the Scarlet Witch has both sets of powers.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to get into that.
Also, Woody, real quick, the reason why Ultron can neutralize Wanda's hex powers is because Wanda's hex powers work off of probability, and Ultron is a supercomputer that can break down the probability odds and neutralize her being able to use her basically good luck magic.
Going from 1 million to 1 million to 1 in 1. Yeah, he knows those probabilities.
Since when is she Domino?
Yeah.
That's kind of the confusing thing about her hex powers. It's a probability hex.
Yep. Jumping back into our comic guys right here, we kind of talked about this campy writing before, but here's a perfect example. I love the Hawkeye, and tell me about it, babe.
The babe. I was like, come on, bro. It's so 1989 right now.
It is. Meanwhile, we do have an introduction to a character a lot of you guys might not be familiar with, who is Tigra. And Tigra, she first appeared in the Claws of the Cat, #1, as the Cat, and she appeared the first time as Tigra in Giant Sized Creatures #1.
She stalks at night like my ex-wife.
Yeah, well, she's created by Tony Isabella and Don Perlin. Tigra is actually the alter ego. Tigra is the alter ego of Greer Grant Nelson. Her powers are actually a combination of science and magic and mental energy. She looks like a cat, and so yes, she has cat-like powers. Imagine that. She's able to heal a lot faster than most. She's been a member of the Avengers, the West Coast Avengers, and the New Warriors.
A nice navel.
Yeah. Oh,
now we know where Fuzzy Navel came from.
Oh, Tigra. Back in our comic.
It's disgusting. I just want to point that out.
Aw, Woody, that's not good.
It's not good. I didn't smell a fart for our viewers. They're like, Woody's making a really awful face right now.
Well, speaking of
smell a fart.
Speaking of seeds, somebody who is
just bad, really.
Somebody who's the size of a seed, Janet Van Dyne, who, you know, as the Wasp, a lot of people are familiar with because of Ant-Man and the Wasp, obviously.
But this is confusing, and let's clarify this really quick. This is Hank Pym's wife, the Wasp, not Evangeline Lilly, the Wasp.
Yes.
If you're an MCU fan, this is confusing. This is Hank Pym's wife, who we just recovered from the Quantum Verse.
In the MCU.
Who is being played by someone who I'm too high to remember right now.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I win.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you. Just give me 1 second while I fast forward through like these next 10 paragraphs.
But they're not together right now, too, which is something.
Well, we can back up, Al. I'm sorry.
No. We're good.
But yeah, they're not together right now, right? They're going through
exactly.
She still calls him lover, which is like, come on, why do you gotta fuck with Hank Pym's emotions by calling him lover and shit when you're fucking divorcing his ass? Don't call him lover, call him asshole, like a normal ex-wife.
It's making me think of that SNL skit.
My second ex-wife joke. If I get one more, I get a stuffed animal.
Well, He's not an ex-wife, but he is somebody who's hopefully coming to the MCU soon. Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man. And in this, guys, we actually get a pretty good backstory in the series of Wonder Man and his contribution to not only the Avengers but Vision. Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, first appeared in Avengers #9 in October of 1964. He was, of course, created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, and was originally a foe of the Avengers with Baron Zemo, like Chris was talking about earlier, and later became an Avenger himself after he was presumably killed by Zemo. His brainwaves are what they actually used for the original Vision in Avengers #57. We're going to get into what Wonder Man has contributed and what Human Torch has contributed to the Vision in a little bit. But for right now, I mean, a lot of us have been waiting for, Wonder Man in the MCU. What do you guys think at home? Leave your comments below. Who would you guys like to see it? My question for Woody and Chris, who would you guys like to see play Wonder Man in the MCU?
I thought you were just going to ask me who the fuck is missing from the MCU, and that's goddamn Adam Warlock, and it pisses me off every day I wake up and I go, why isn't Adam Warlock anywhere? But
Keanu Reeves for Adam Warlock all day, every day. I ship that so hard. And also Nathan Fillion for Wonder Man. He's got the attitude.
Yeah.
It'd be so good. He's got the sassy little I'm a movie star, don't you know about me?
I have no additional comments to that.
It's so funny that you say that, because I have written right here my choice for Wonder Man would also be Nathan Fillion.
It's so perfect. He just deserves to be a part of the echelon of fucking actors that are doing MCU right now,
Yep, absolutely.
He handles space drama so well.
Oh, totes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he could be a cocky dickhead, but you still like him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
It's like.
So come on, let's start it then. Let's try to get Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man. I think it's a great idea. But back in our time,
make Kevin Feige use fucking Adam Warlock before I punch him in the dick.
Coming in Guardians, dude. It's coming in Guardians.
Fucking be, or I'm going to that dude's house.
Speaking of punching dick to beat people. Wait a minute. Beat people punching dick. Never mind. So Wonder Man.
Do you want another take on that?
Aurora. Oh man. Okay. So Wonder Man joins the fight against Ultron and Scarlet Witch. Still trying to figure out where Vision is. Vision's gone, now Ultron. And now through these next couple of pages, we actually get a good backstory on the original Human Torch as well. We talked about how Wonder Man's brainwaves were used for the Vision, while his body in the comics was actually provided by the original Human Torch. And Human Torch, he was an android back when Marvel Comics was actually called Timely Comics.
Can I just say real quick, I had no idea any of this.
Really?
I didn't know any. I just always thought he was fucking Johnny Blaze, and that's the end of it.
So
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Blaze. See, I don't have a cool name of weed, but I'll just say gelato.
So back when Marvel Comics was actually called Timely Comics, their big three at the time was Captain America, Namor the Submariner, and the Human Torch. So this backstory pretty much, tells us how the human android was reclaimed by the Thinker, and the Thinker was actually, one of those cheesy 1960s foe to the now famous Fantastic Four. And after being defeated, the android body was then reclaimed by Ultron to make the Vision. So the MCU actually got part of the Vision's origin correct, with Ultron trying to make it. But back to our current day, the West Coast Avengers are still battling Ultron when Hank Pym, I thought this was pretty cool, gives Wonder Man some Pym particles. He shrinks down in size, enters Ultron's mouth, resizes to normal, and then destroys Ultron in the process. I don't know if you guys...
Can
Go.
Teacher,
Yes, Michael.
I need to go pee. No. So, what? Can you go back? Did you get a shot of somehow him using hand powers as Hank Pym? Like I thought it was
Oh,
Pym, like it's the same in the comics as the movies, right? He needs Pym particles. That's how he changes his size, right?
it's not a
It's not like he was bitten by a radioactive ant and now he can shrink things.
Correct. That
Like,
is
so
correct.
why is he just touching Wonder Man's arm and bubbles happen and now he's small? I don't understand where those powers
They get
come
really
from.
fast and loose about how Hank gets to use Pym particles in this West Coast Avengers run.
Okay.
They narrow it down a lot more in the later 90s and early 2000s.
So he just
But
made
basically,
like a
he's just
hand
got
cream.
Yeah, think of it more like sand. He's just like, ha, you're small.
Fairy
now.
dust.
Yeah, it's like
You just
fucking
have
fairy.
to clap. You just have to clap and then you can shrink.
I
you know-
believe.
I believe in Hank Pym. I believe.
And you know, it's funny because shrinking them down like this, I know you guys heard the thing, you know, talking about how they think in the MCU, like, why did an Ant-Man like shrink down to size, go up Thanos' ass and like explode?
Oh my god, that's dope. That's like the boys when he figures out he can blow up the fucking dude through his asshole. That's the same shit. Yes, that's maybe where the boys got this.
Woody knows what's up now. So Wonder Man, you know, he starts resizing and does exactly that, rips Ultron from the inside out. And this is when our heroes
Yeah, I'm
realize
used to that.
this
Taco Tuesday.
So like an enchilada, Wonder Man busts out of Ultron, and this is where they realize that they're dealing with a fake Ultron because normally made of adamantium and not like vibranium in the movies, but out of adamantium, you know, they think it would have been impossible for Wonder Man to break that apart.
Teacher. So
yes, Michael.
Was vibranium around at this point, or is that a new thing? They just wanted to use antimanium, anti-gravity. Adamantium, Mentos, the fresh drinker. Adamantium. There we are. Okay, cool. Sorry, I suck. Everybody, feel free to comment and let me know.
At least you're not a Dormammu, you know. But
Dormammu, Dora the Exploring Mamu.
So our Avengers, you know, are still looking for Vision with Ultron defeated. You know, might have been a good distraction. We get this little cute Avengers disassemble.
That's adorbs.
And we get talking about, you know, just real quick, I don't want to go into it, a flashback of Vision and Immortus. Immortus, he's really not relevant to the story other than like the Vision's origins and how he brought him back in time to see things. Immortus was actually Nathaniel Richards. Yeah, like those Fantastic Four Richards. And he was also like Kang the Conqueror.
We will do an explained in 420 on Immortus.
Immortus.
We will
Immortus
do
and
an
Kang the
explained in
Conqueror,
420 on Kang the Conqueror, Immortus, the Nathaniel Richards, the whole fucking thing.
So Immortus pretty much took Vision out to show Vision, you know, his origins. And this is how we discovered the whole Wonder Man, Brainwaves, Human Torch body. And how the Vision was, you know, originally sent back to destroy the Avengers. And again, this is all, you know, a flashback to Avengers Volume 1 issues like 55 through 60.
Does your computer have virus protection? Because it might get a tapeworm.
Holy moly.
Do it. I thought that was one of the lamest. He's like, I found this tape, computer tape. And I'm like, what, dude? Like, what kind of computers have y'all been around? Like, I know it's 1989, but like, there's hard drives now, right? There's things.
You still might have your floppy hard drive, you know, your
Yeah, but
floppy
who's sitting
disk.
there with tape like, the computer is giving me readings.
Oh my goodness. Like
You know what I'm talking about, dude?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
is
I get it.
Is this a 40s computer? Is he getting stock market updates through it or
Well,
something?
I think they were doing the best
A
with
tapeworm is a type of virus.
No, it's not.
Computer virus. Yes, it is. It really is.
It's called the tapeworm.
Yeah.
But is okay, fine. Fine, you win.
Because much like a tapeworm, it spreads throughout your body and puts like plants itself in different places and makes it really difficult to get out.
So, and also eats your information kind of deal?
I think so.
Like it would pizza?
I'm not that computer savvy, but I am aware that I've been watching Mr. Robot, so I know that a tapeworm is an actual type of virus.
You're a fucking professional.
No, no, that's pretty much it.
I just watch one on TV.
Guys, being the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, that was the kind of like futuristic stuff they thought they were working with.
Look at the wasp's booty.
It's funny. Oh, yeah. So, going
Booty
through
poppin'.
these next couple of things, it's pretty much Hank Pym. Are you good, Michael?
Such a fat, tiny booty.
That was a fat ass, dude. I'm sorry. Look at the wasp's ass.
But can you really call it thick when it's a wasp size?
Look at her butt. She must be one of those rappers' girlfriends.
Well, and it's funny because, even the Scarlet Witch here, like a lot of the way they're drawn, for that time, it was like the, female has to be overtly sexy, which I don't agree with. But anyway, so back to our comic. Hank Pym is, pretty much explained to everybody as they were fighting Ultron, somebody broke in, put a computer virus in their computers and a tapeworm and erased everything. And so they have no backup on Vision. They have nothing. And every report they have in the Vision is gone. Not only is he gone from the West Coast Avengers, but he's gone from S.H.I.E.L.D. He is gone from regular Avengers. There's just no memory of the Vision.
And I know what this feels like because I too have forgotten to hit save while working on a project.
So trying to figure out who messed up Microsoft Word, they figured somebody has to come in and somebody has to be an Avengers traitor. But who is the traitor going to be? And it is none other than Hawkeye's lover.
There's a lot of couples counseling going on in this whole issue.
But Mockingbird, and again, look at this, the campy writing. What's the matter, lover? Aren't you pleased to see your little wifey again?
Aren't you pleased to see me, lover?
And
lover, we are just two lovers under the moonlight fighting superheroes, lover. Join me.
Let's have some ham and maybe some tuna sandwiches.
Come, lover.
So Mockingbird, actually, a lot of people might not know this, is actually
haven't you heard?
Bobby Morse, or she sometimes actually goes by Bobby Morse Barton because she was in fact married to Clint Barton. She was actually created by
created by Clint Barton, like from his rib or what?
Fucked up. It's fucked up, Hawkeye. You married someone you created? That's very Woody Allen of you.
I was gonna just say Woody Allen.
And I bet you something tells me Hawkeye would like make a woman like from a toe. He's like,
he'd make a woman.
I'd
Instead of a
sacrifice
rib,
a toe.
he'd use a toe. You think he's a foot guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think it's Hawkeye that's a foot guy. I think Jeremy Renner's a foot guy, but let's not get into that. Bobby Morse.
So Bobby
Anyone
Morse,
else watch S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah,
I just got Chris into S.H.I.E.L.D. Not this Chris, other Chris.
But
He's
she
been up
actually
like 2 days watching it. It's great.
She did. She's appeared on S.H.I.E.L.D., like I said, Bobby Morse or Bobby Morse Barton. She is proficient in hand-to-hand combat, an expert marksman, and enhanced strength and agility, as well as healing and halted aging. There we go. She first appeared in Team Ups number 95 in July of 1980. And that right there, guys, is the wrap up to our issue 42 so far. We have the why, who, and where. And guys, what do you guys think at home so far? Are you guys digging the story? Be sure, remember to
I feel like
subscribe, leave a comment below. Woody, go for it.
Detective Wu was maybe making a play on this with a whiteboard in WandaVision.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I mean, because this was really common back in the day that they do why,
exactly.
who, where.
So
that's
like
fucking.
That might have been a play on that. Yeah.
So So my question
Thank you,
for
thank you, Aurora.
my question for you, Chris, is is the language like we know it's really dated, but I mean, is it affecting the story for you so far?
I can see why it would affect the story for someone. It does not affect me. I giggle at it pretty constantly. And I think I try to, as a reader, whenever I'm reading these classic stories, I try to either just let it go and just enjoy the story, or I try to think of what they would be trying to say in a modern slang, because that's what it is. It's the slang that makes it dated.
Dated. So my question for you is, does the art make it dated?
The art is nostalgic as hell and makes my nipples hard.
Yeah, this is everything Woody dreams about.
It's very classic, with
I love it.
columns.
I love the purple sky. I love all of it. It's just the fucking ink work. This is the shit that I strive. This is when there was that switch to like computer touch-ups that started turning me away, and like the sheen. There was this sheen to the books, and I don't like sheen. I want it to be gritty.
I'll debate the other side of this. I love modern comics, and I think they look fucking fantastic with computer touch-ups. I like CG.
Okay,
I am that fucking guy, and you can hate on me for it, but I like that type of shit,
no hate, man. There's no hate, bro. There's no hate.
No, there's going to be hate in the comments because I actually enjoy CG and
but again,
digital touch-ups.
It's a happy marriage. It's like, okay, but look at like that Doctor Strange run, which one day maybe everyone will be able to see when we're feeling groovy. But like
I'll get there.
Doctor Strange run, and we were talking about that, how it's like you can merge those two worlds well, but it's also just like the Star Wars prequels. There's a way that you can go overboard, and that is an example of something when shit just is too shiny. It's just too fucking shiny. And there's no real life grit to it. And that's why I love the art in this. Pretty much is what I'm getting to. Well, and I loved how they introduced the artists on this next page. Yeah. How they're talking and the way that I've never seen that done in a comic, and I think it's fucking hilarious.
I think it's very, very progressive of them that they put Wanda so cock forward on the cover of this issue here. Oh yeah. She is straight up positioning the way that they normally position the male leader of a team. Well,
and so
the chairman is all the way in the back.
All right, guys. So I'm sorry. Getting back into our comic. All right, where we are starting on issue number 43, and like Woody said, right off the get-go, we have this full page of a shocked Hawkeye.
Oh, maybe it's the next one that they do that they're like drawn enthusiastically by. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, and especially when Stan Lee used to be the editor, they used to have Jack the King Kirby and. Just give them different titles like that. But right off the bat, we got this full page, like we were talking about earlier. You got to remember the time too, late 80s, early 90s. That's the time of like Todd McFarlane, and Frank,
the greatest, Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane, and of course, don't forget, like on the DC side of things, with Frank. Oh my goodness. 300, Dark Knight.
Miller?
Frank Miller, thank you. Holy cow.
Aurora.
Exactly.
I love
so at the time, comics were going in a much darker direction. We had like almost this anti-hero. And so jumping into that, seeing a story like Vision Quest, it's very, like I said, it's very old school, with columns and panels, nothing's breaking the borders, and so far, I think as far as like with our letterer also, it just goes to show that it has a great flow to it, and it's easy to read.
In the MCU that they took more care in making Hawkeye's costume like a little more Hawkeye. He just looks like a dude in stealth gear with a bow. And I always thought that kind of upset me a little bit. Like with WandaVision, how they used her face mask. Like I didn't know if they were going to do that, and then when they finally did, I was like, okay, because that's a big part of her. There's a way to do these things without making them so. He doesn't need a whole purple dildo cap. He just needs like some way that you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Same thing with Baron Zemo. I'm super pumped that they gave Baron Zemo his mask.
Well, and one of the things I was going to say, guys, is that, this is, for me, this is my Hawkeye right here. This is the Hawkeye that I grew up on, that I would love to see in a comic one day. And I love the whole blow it out your ear, Wonder Man, where, oh, sorry, Chris. Blow it out your ear. How's that?
No, you said see it in a comic one day. You meant see it in a movie one day. Do you want to go back and take that
yes,
again?
I do. In 5, 4, and this is my Hawkeye, guys. Like this is the Hawkeye that I want to see in a movie one day. This is this classic costume, and when he says blow it out your ear, that now he would say, why don't you guys like eat a dick?
What's going on with his thighs?
Well, they're powerful, man.
How big? Thighs. That's some softball thighs right there, dude. Well, no, they're huge.
It's the only Avenger without powers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like every day is leg day.
So these first couple of pages are pretty much, the fact that Mockingbird was the one who let the, computer boys kind of insert their virus into her and helped coordinate the kidnapping of Vision. Of course, our West Coast Avengers, they need some type of holy moly explanation.
Aurora.
They need some type of explanation. And one of my favorite things, we were talking about the art earlier, and one of the things I absolutely loved was when they would do flashbacks and they put the orange character face up in the corner. I love that style.
Yeah, that's a good throwback, dude. And like I said, reading this comic is just like made me feel like a kid. That's why I loved it. It was just
that was part of the Marvel code, right, Al?
Yep.
What was it? The Marvel way.
The Marvel way, correct. Yep.
Yeah, that was part of it. They no matter who was writing it, who was drawing it, there were certain rules, and if it was a flashback, you'd have the yellow face in the corner. That was part of that.
Yep. So
that type of continuity Kevin Feige's really bringing back to the MCU, which is why the MCU is so great.
Absolutely. So starting off with our flashback, she supposedly, she thinks that a SHIELD agent was called up to calling her in for assignment. She kind of arrives, wonders what everything's all about. She knows that something is wrong, but she doesn't know what. So she meets the leader of Vigilance and Cameron Brock, who was actually created just for Vision Quest. Pretty much speaking about how a couple of months ago, Vision went haywire and tried to obtain nuclear codes. And how it can never happen again. He explains this is pretty much just precautionary in case the Vision ever does go haywire again. And Mockingbird, trying to explain it back to her teammates, is, she thought she was doing it for SHIELD. She thought she was doing it, because she loved her country. But when she started digging deeper, she found out it was actually Ultron.
Look at that bullet. Look at that fucking mullet.
Well, with her mullet, she ends up kicking SHIELD's ass. And I think it's funny that this is where she thought that they weren't SHIELD agents. She was like, they were pathetic. But pathetic enough, they end up setting their guns to stun, and they knock her out and they lock her up and find out it was the KGB. Damn Russians.
Just like everything in the 80s.
I know. I was like, this is such a cop out, dude. It's like, but whatever. Now,
and that's the thing, you got to remember that it was the end of the Cold War. And so it's like, the Russians. I love this last panel with Tigra, losing control, roar, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. going through, so Mockingbird doesn't know why the Russians would do this, but probably again because Vision could obtain nuclear codes.
He also knew the Contra cheat code.
So back in our flashback again, the orange color up at the beginning, and she's talking about like, why didn't she come earlier? Well, because she just escaped, of course. And I like, they were talking about like, so why were you such a bitch when you first arrived then? She's pretty much like, boys, stupid boys. I showed up mean because of stupid boys. So to try to make themselves, at least get a jump on everything, they jump in a Quinjet. Everyone is pissed except Mockingbird. I loved this shot from inside of the Quinjet, and I probably spent a good 10 minutes trying to figure out where Tigra was sitting because it's kind of confusing. All right.
Wait, hold up. Does Wasp ever not Wasp anymore?
It doesn't seem so. I actually don't know what happened, but
in this run, she's tiny almost all the time.
Well, and so let's go like back before
divorce.
This. Well, and so the reason why they're actually getting divorced is because in Avengers number 213 in 1981, he got thrown out of the Avengers for pretty much beating his wife, Janet Van Dyne, and he ends up going on trial in Avengers 228. And I mean, I hope he likes his cappuccino black because like this shit is dark.
When people wonder why we have Scott Lang as our Ant-Man, I just remind them because Hank Pym beat the shit out of his wife. And they're not going to show that in Disney ever. That's just not going to be a thing Disney's ever going to do.
No. And that's a very good point, as they're talking more on the Quinjet, it's funny, you get your little banter back and forth where Hawkeye's like starting to get a little like butthurt because Janet Van Dyne is giving orders, and Hawkeye's like, I'm supposed to be the leader of the West Coast Avengers. So
he's so butthurt about that. He's so butthurt about it, and he's just like, but I'm in charge. It's like hanging out with a 5-year-old in his fucking treehouse. It's like you're hanging out in his fucking treehouse. He's like, my mom brought the juicy juice, so I'm in charge.
And she finishes up with the bitch of good plan. So she goes down first, tries to use her antennae to talk to the ants for some backup, and snooping
Another
around.
Reason why they're getting divorced.
Well, and it's funny. So sneaking around, she Woody, that's awful. That took me a second. So speaking of dating comics, guys, right here is a perfect example, So she sees somebody in the keyhole, says, I can't believe who it is they have locked up. And they put in this, sorry, readers, startling revelation behind the Wasp's discovery. We'll have to wait until next issue.
Joke's on you, motherfucker. Joke's on you. I'm going to read them all.
And for a better comic reading experience, when you are reading these classic comics, always read stuff like that in Stan Lee voice.
Oh, always.
Readers, but starting revolution. Yeah, just get really wacky goofy about it every time you read those yellow boxes.
Another thing I'd like to talk about for a second is there is actually a great book out there. You can actually find it free on Comixology and Marvel Unlimited, and it's what's called How to Read Comics the Marvel Way, where they kind of like set out for you like as a letterer would do it. Yep. So check that out.
Like that's like a documentary?
No, it's a book.
It's a book.
It's like a comic book about teaching you how to read
pictures.
It's a comic book about comic books. That's fucking meta.
Yeah. So pretty much at this point back in our story, Wanda's, thinking about the past and, a lot of page fillers and thinking about her time with the Avengers. And one of the things they go to like real quick, It's not real relevant, so we won't get really into it. But like Wanda and Mantis and Moondragon were finalists for the Celestial Madonna, and
That's what I called my ex-wife when she was on her period.
there's number three,
There's number 3. He gets a stuffed animal, folks.
Aurora. So do you know what's actually funny is Moondragon is actually one of her nicknames is Baldy. Hey Baldy.
Oh, by who? Hawkeye?
Yeah. So
Oddly enough, isn't it Captain Marvel, but like the 13th Captain Marvel?
That makes sense too.
yeah, at some point. So, more of these Wanda flashbacks. I love this, they talk about when she first told her brother that she was going to get married. You had Quicksilver there pulling his typical whining Quicksilver, like we talked about in House of M.
Can I just say this shit makes it really funny more in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Drax starts calling fucking Mantis ugly.
Oh,
and the
you
fact
are
that
so ugly.
she became the Madonna because of her physical perfection, and it's like just proves to you that fucking Drax is just so fucking ridiculous.
Yep. So looking through, and that kind of relates to the movies and relating to the TV show with Wanda Vision.
What is up with that fully formed, mature face on that baby?
The twin sons. They were well. If you think about it,
I don't even know if I'd card him.
So, well, this is like very important for like WandaVision, because this, pretty much shows that Wanda made the twins herself. And that's the thing is, it's like being a child of an android, Woody. Like the kid probably came out and was like, "Hi, my name's William. I got to be to work in 3 hours."
Hey, Mom, I need some kitty milk.
Somebody cut this umbilical cord. I got to go do a 9 a.m. shift.
Can we talk for just a quick second when we recognize the fact that Wanda is staring straight at you?
Yeah.
Like Deadpool style?
Holding her babies. These are
man.
My babies.
Full gonzo.
I will tell you right now, I have seen that look. So going through, Wanda's thinking about this. This is actually pretty cool and pretty relevant. So we have the twins, William and Thomas, and they are taking a bath, and what happens, but they disappear. They just disappear. Why do they disappear? Think why in the comments below and let us know. I know what it is. I believe Chris knows what it is. But if this is your first time actually reading, let us know why you think the kids disappeared.
We're going to talk about it in another video.
Exactly.
We're definitely going to talk about it in another video.
So, well, back to our comics. So now that we have the,
a spot of bother. Ooh.
That's not even 1980s lingo, though. When did anyone ever say a little spot of bother?
Dad, I need to borrow some money. I'm in a real spot of bother right now.
Well, do you know what's funny is at this time, the Comic Code Authority was actually nearing the end. By this time, you didn't need that Comic Code Authority to sell comics. Well, what happened in the late 80s, early 90s is, along with a lot of music and, the parental
thanks to
explicit
Live Crew.
Lyrics. Yeah. Geez, go bust a nut somewhere else. But so needless to say, so at that time, if it was approved by the Comics Code Authority, it did have this very like 1950s feel of it.
Very 1950s feel.
Well, and here we go again, perfect example, because here comes Wonder Man to like stop those commie clowns. Commie clowns. What do you guys think?
They would be really unentertaining at a party. Would you like to see some balloon
Sickle,
animals?
Star.
Yeah.
Look it for you. I make sausage. Have a nice day.
Where is your parents' credit card numbers?
As someone with the political leanings that I do have, I won't tell you right now, but as someone with the political leanings I do have, it's been fun to watch just Marvel, Disney, media in general over my entire life just shit on socialism and communism. It's been the enemy forever in American media.
The devil.
So socialism is the devil in most American media. Whether you agree with it or not, you have to you have to point out that it has been frequently used as a villain.
Absolutely. Back in our story, our heroes are pretty much, going out in search of the Vision and in search of their missing friends, trying to figure out what's going on. And what's amazing is we have, Wanda again. She's using her hex power. She stops the gunshots. I thought this was pretty cool, and she finds out the guy have to go to section 31, and this is when they walk into this. And this is a picture that, as a comic fan at 10 years old, spoke volumes, and at 41 years old spoke fucking volumes. Chris, I know, like we talked, like I'd love to talk about this picture for a few minutes, man, because I think it's these next two actually. So
let me break down the two most obvious points really quick. So obviously in Wanda Vision, we got a very similar scene to this, which I'll let you talk about that in much greater detail. But how great was Woody's background here is obviously this is a direct shout out. And when fans of comic books get to see this type of stuff in the shows, when we've read this type of stuff when we were kids, this is huge. So if you're new to comics, this is what it's all about. And you're kind of getting it in reverse. You watched Wanda Vision, and now you're reading these comics at the same time, and you're going, holy shit, they're that good. They are that good. The other thing that I think is really important to bring out is that in the 1980s, full page spreads were reserved for impactful moments, strictly. And they nailed this full page spread. And they did them so, we get them so often in modern comics, I feel like we don't appreciate them as much maybe, but maybe that's just me being old and shit. But old comics having a full page spread, it made me, I would always stop reading, just look at it, soak in every detail.
Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at it?
And absolutely, Chris, I couldn't say that better myself. You see the stunned workers, you see Vision skin, like just on the side. And like you said, as a comic fan, when I saw this in WandaVision, I was like
a fucking used condom.
I was like, this is what it's about, because a lot of these directors, I feel are the same age as us. And growing up, they were the kids who were reading this and they're like, I would love to fucking see this as a movie or as a TV show. And now finally we're at this age where it was cool. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it wasn't cool for me when I was in fucking high school. But it's awesome now, and they're like, how do you know so much? And I'm like, because I masturbate to myself.
Because remember when you made fun of me on the bus, I was reading comics, now you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. All right. So
the new hit single from the Chronic Book Club All Stars.
So, and that's why I say, seeing something like this, is just it's unbelievable, and it really, really hits.
If you take your time with it and you think about perspective. Let's say you put yourself in the perspective of your standing, think of yourself as a cameraman for a second, and how you could turn this one image into, like 6 minutes of a television show. You start off next to Bobby and Wanda, you move down to the floor, you pan across the images of the room, and you've got like 6 to 10 minutes of footage in just like going over all these details of the body. But with 2 pages, we get there. And that's the magic of comics, and how much story they can tell in such a limited amount of ink.
I think what was really cool was when you're reading it in Marvel Unlimited and you do dynamic view, when you come into the room, you're just on Mockingbird, then you're on the Scientist, then it opens up, which I thought was like,
oh, so just like that, just like they would do if it was a screen, just like they would do if it was a 4K shot.
A absolutely. And I remember, like I said, as a 10-year-old kid, as a 41-year-old guy now, and seeing the next issue, Better a Widow. So my definition of widow comes from me at 10 years old, reading this and going to my
Internet. Hello.
all right, guys. Let's make sure our dabs are dab, bowls packed. Here we go. Let's go on to issue number 44. And right off the bat, we were talking earlier, like we got this badass cover. I was one of the kids who waited 30 days. And to see this cover of like, Vision breaking the West Coast Avengers, back then, like that didn't happen a lot. So when it did, it was like, it was pretty like memorable. And then opening the first page, and seeing, Better a Widow.
I fucking loved this, dude.
Like, oh my God, it was just, it was just so incredible,
Oh, and this is where they did it, right? The writing. The wording that they put when they introduced all the artists.
No. Oh,
yeah.
Dramatically. Yeah.
Dramatically, inked enthusiastically, lettered calligraphically.
Well, because if you think about it,
multichromatically, diplomatically.
Well, look at that, and think about it. Like for the time, like that's not just a good comic book, but that's like just incredible art, absolutely incredible. So start going through, of course we see the Scarlet Witch is, obviously upset about seeing her husband on the table, kind of like we saw in Wanda Vision. Except this time she really just doesn't, scoop him up and take him out. Like the original video showed, and then we find out she later didn't even do that. So she just kind of left. Porn. So, seeing the similarities in these, it was, pretty amazing. And they're going through and talking with all the scientists and everybody. They realize that Vision's memory has been erased. And so now why does this all coincide with what we read earlier? Well, we've read earlier that, obviously, the Vision, all the files on him in West Coast Avengers, so many different levels that his memory was erased. And what did they end up doing? They end up finding the professor who built the original Human Torch, which at this point, of course, is Vision's body. We have, our side stories again. Hawkeye, here's something going on with Tigra. Tigra's flipping out. It's kind of these early 80s, late 90s side stories they would do, like, ooh, and to try to get you, because at the time there was such a comic book boom, yes, let's put out a Tigra title. Yes, let's put out a Hawkeye title and tell these side stories that we get now, like Spider-Man, Civil War. And, this is all where it really started because of that big comic boom of the late 80s, early 90s.
And those dreams she's been having are really starting to fuck with her.
Yep.
I love this. I was watching this in dynamic view. So it was just like page after page of faces. I was like, what's a lot of faces?
So my question for you, Chris, is, do you want to kind of explain what's going on here and how they're voting on different people? What are they voting for?
Okay. Hold on. So this is usually a spoiler show, but because I would really hope that people would keep reading this West Coast Avengers run, I don't want to spoil too much. So what we're looking at is an organization that is going through just basically mutants. All of the most powerful, actually, as I'm looking at this is basically this generation's Omega levels. This is all of the Omega level mutants of this generation.
Yeah. So who's the one with the white face where they're like, no, and exclamation points, that they were very adamant about not selecting.
Are you talking about the Dracula-looking
Yeah, with
character
the
there
white
next
face.
to Nightcrawler?
Yes.
Yeah, Silver Surfer, the Blob.
Nope, down bottom row in between Mystique and Nightcrawler, I think is what he's
They're
referring
very
to.
adamant, and then with
with
yeah, Nightcrawler,
no.
they wait. So it's almost like they thought about it. So who are those two? I mean, I know Nightcrawler. I'm saying, who is that? Yeah, you're on. I have no idea who that is.
So my assumption of that is one of the first mutants, along with Namor, who is the birthplace of vampires in the Marvel universe, whose character name is completely escaping me because it's pretty fucking obscure. But now that I'm looking at it, does that kind of look like a ponytail? Which would make that character reference non-accurate. I'm looking at that for a second time and I'm seeing a ponytail there.
Well,
who do you think that is, Al?
Well, I'll tell you who I think it is in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Oh,
I believe it's his sister. That's who I believe.
That's who it is. That's who it is.
So I'm pretty sure that's who it is. If anybody else thinks differently, let me know.
And
let us know in the comments.
They're just like, no, it most definitely not. Kind of.
Marshall.
What is that?
So she's like in the comics, she's a mutant and she's a martial. She's like the world's greatest martial arts expert.
Correct.
She would make the Iron Fist look like a fucking bitch, much like the Netflix series did.
Hey-o.
Absolutely. So back in our comic, we have Wanda, who obviously
wait, we never got to what do we think they're voting on, because I'd love to know. I was very confused by that whole scene in that college. What was the name of the college?
So that's Spoiler City. If someone's going to enjoy this comic series, then what they're choosing is like the next run of comics that comes after Vision Quest.
Well, there you go, guys.
All
so
right,
let's not spoil the surprise, and maybe we will do a roundup on that. But needless to say, we do have Wanda Maximoff, who does get a little upset at the idea, decides to go nuts, take down the building, comes back home. All the Avengers come back home, back to Avengers compound, and I loved this because the Scarlet Witch goes to check on her children, and there they are in the bathtub.
We're fully grown children. What the fuck, dude?
And she's dressed like a Halloween cartoon character, but you know what? That's the goddamn Scarlet Witch I grew up with. I will tell you that. Honestly, I thought they were sharing a giant nug of weed.
Yeah, I was like,
what is that they're holding?
They're about to get high as fuck with their weird man faces.
But that's not a nug of weed. What is that?
Yeah,
that's a sponge.
I have no clue. Oh, a loose trap.
There's water coming out of it. Either that or it's one of those things from Star Trek.
Tell me that does not look exactly like what I'm holding in my hand right now.
It's a fucking nug of weed, dude. They got a huge... Wanda was like, you will have a giant nug of weed to play with.
So back at Avengers compound, we do have Thomas and William, our two big potheads. Going through, the next couple of pages, panels, we get our little side stories.
Tinkle Thud.
Tinkle Thud. We get our little side stories with Wonder Man and Scarlet Witch, and they hear something, and they go down to check on Hank Pym and what he's doing when, I love this, arm of flesh comes out, grabs him by the face. Hawkeye comes down, grabs Hawkeye, and they are in a fight with a new Vision. And I thought that was like so neat how they did that.
Didn't we miss out on the fact that the kids are missing again?
Yeah,
she was interviewing a new person, and now the kids are missing again.
We're gonna talk about that. I imagine Al's got that down. But the thing about Wonder Man that I want to talk about really quick is just that because he has extra tough skin, he's not like impenetrable skin, but he's got extra tough skin. So they just put him in the way of a lot of fucking incredibly badass scenes where he just gets the shit beat out of him.
He's got an extra tough mullet too. Dude. Look at that thing.
I mean, and he can take it. And do you know what's fucked up is his eyes are red from his energy. So imagine like a Nathan Fillion with like red fucking lightning eyes. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so badass. So, we have our side stories. Wonder Man, yeah, like you were saying, Wonder Man, gets his ass kicked. Like the first to go in. Why? Because they can take it. And you see somebody here like Hawkeye, no powers, grabs him, and that's why it's like, whoa. He's freaking out, and it was amazing. Hank Pym comes in. Hank Pym says, oh, I've got everything under control. Don't worry. And Hank Pym comes back, pretty much takes him in, and they hear a knock on the door. And who is it? But none other than U.S. Agent. And that is the end of issue 44.
After talking to their government contact about all that bullshit.
Correct.
So the government contact was like, I'm sending somebody that is going to deal with your stupid asses.
Well, and so they kind of get into that into the next issue, number 45. But, for those of you guys who aren't too familiar, U.S. Agent was actually John Walker. He made his first appearance in Captain America number 223 as the Super Patriot. And Chris, I think you probably said it best before, is he's kind of like a Steve Rogers knockoff, but like just more dickier.
He's Walmart Steve Rogers.
Walmart. He's somewhere Steve in between Rogers. Steve Rogers and Scott Summers.
There you go.
Oh wow! So on our Scott Summers scale, then
he's definitely a bootlicker. But the thing about U.S. Agent, and you're going to see him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, is he's kind of like an allegory for being a bootlicker, which is at least artistic.
Yep. And he did get his own series, and so.
But did anyone read it? Did anyone read it?
No. And what's funny is like Marvel tried to reboot it now, and like, I'm sorry, Marvel, but like no, not good, dude. Like, try harder. Like, he's like on the Scott Summers scale, he's probably like a good 8. So like, do something with him. So that's the end of issue 44, and going right into issue 45, we have our Avengers.
Behold the Vision.
And that's the thing, is this was the original cover, Avengers number 57, Behold the Vision. And this is probably like one of my top 10 favorite comic book covers ever, and I really thought it was cool. And that's why, when you get to the issue of West Coast Avengers 45, it's the same thing, and it's this white vision, and now seeing this as a cover, knowing
so cool,
what happened, it's so cool. And that's why when it happened on Wanda Vision, it was like, us like comic geeks or whatever, we're like, holy crap, like this is awesome. Like this is amazing, like wicked awesome. So going into issue 45, they have this whole very, I don't know, would you describe it like an 80s conversation about it's this, guys, I think, like the debate, like that felt very, very dated. Very, very dated.
I streamlined through this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the thing is, it was very, very quick, and just like this banter back and forth, like
it feels a lot more like prologue for the next story than it does epilogue for the current.
Exactly. So like you said, you just go through that quick.
I thought this was in the last issue. I suck at life.
So while this is going through, like Chris said, you go through it really, really quick. It's that typical timed 80s banter, and we have the same thing here in issue 45. And Wanda is trying to interview a new nanny for the kids, and she thinks she has a nanny. She gets called down to go to White Vision again. The whole thing with the nanny was like that quick banner, you know,
The
just
kids are gone.
went through it quick. Exactly.
She walks upstairs and the kids are gone again.
And that's the thing, the kids are gone again. So what's going on? And for those of us who know, like, it's pretty cool, but you got to keep on reading.
It's like it's like 10 more issues for anyone who's interested. We'll go over it next week, but it's like 10 more issues if you want to know what's going on.
Yeah, well, and you got to think about it at the time. Again, very dated, and it was a time
10 months
when that comic boom was hitting. You know, it was very. They were selling so many comics, they wanted to string it out. That's the way it was. So,
but also, Al, you're a resident old man. And, you know, you read those comics when they were coming out when you were a kid, and waiting 30 days for a comic. You hear people complain on the internet about waiting 7 days for an episode of Wanda Vision.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's, yeah.
So, and the thing is also is I had an at-home subscription. My mom's, and I used to get Avengers, West Coast Avengers, and The Amazing Spider-Man and Captain America. Those were the 4 I got. And I would get them every week and I'd read the stories. And then another month it would come and be like, ooh, oh my God. And of course, you know, I read them all in one day, and then I read them again, and then I read them again, and then I read them again. And waiting for this and waiting for this confrontation, because I love the Vision. And Hank Pym tells her, you know, I need you to come down like in full costume. And she's like, what, you know, like, can you imagine, like, what the fuck? This is my husband. Like, no way. Like, I need to see him now. Like, he's not a fucking synthezoid to me. You know, that's my husband. And so she comes down and she sees him for the first time. And it's really kind of heartbreaking, because she's like, I love you. And he's like, I don't know who the fuck you are.
What is love? Baby,
Yeah.
don't hurt me.
What is hugs?
What is hugs?
So,
I thought that was so. Is there some meaning behind this gesture? Oh. Oh.
Why does my loins tickle?
So, you know, going through again, quick 80s side banter, except this, because Wonder Man's brainwaves made the original Vision, she goes to Wonder Man to sit to him and be like, look at, like, he's your brother, you know, like, you
Well,
have
he
called
said
him
no.
brother.
He denied, he said no to Hank about putting the memory in.
Exactly, you know, and that's why he, you know, she said to him, why will you not give him your memories again? You know, that's like your brother. And we get this like really, you know, great quick backstory on Wonder Man, you know, and like kind of where he came from and how he fought the Avengers, you know, first. And it was just like such a good quick throwback. Like, they did a real good job making it quick and to the point. So with that being said, Wanda, I love this. You know, she looks at him and she's like, forgive you, I hate you. And this is it resonates with WandaVision in the fact that when she has to lose Vision and it's Monica Rambeau gets in the way, and that anger she had towards her was like what I felt like this, like, forgive you, like, I hate you. And she does, you know, she could tear him apart from the inside if she wanted to. Instead, you know, she drops a cliff on him because they're Avengers, you know. And then when Wonder Man, you know, he's like so upset because of Vision. So he needs to scream, and it's awesome because he's like such a Wonder Man that like he has to fly into space to be like, whoa. Sorry, it just really moved me. Back,
It's super heavy, and honestly,
it is
the
super
moment
heavy.
the moment with Wanda right before there, where she's like, "No, I hate you." I think that's very like that moment there is very much so the Wanda the Scarlet Witch that we're getting going forward in the MCU. The Scarlet Witch that's like, I know my powers and I'm gonna get what I want out of this.
Yeah. And not let my trauma control me, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I think it was really cool. What is your Aurora?
Al, are you okay?
He's okay, dude. He's got a problem with
I'm higher than a giraffe balls. So like
well, I was gonna say I thought it was really cool that they were like people could feel it like an earthquake, you know, when he screamed. I thought that was awesome.
Emotional. You know, and
he's like a low budget Superman. Exactly. He's like a Bronze Age Superman.
Oh, Wonder Man just moves me. Nathan Fillion, please play Wonder Man. So back at the Avengers compound, same thing. You know, it's funny. I thought this was funny when the U.S. agent was like, "How dare you be in front of me naked, Vision? You know, you need to put some clothes on." And they had that quick 80s banter of like, dude, get fucking dressed. And you're like, really?
I don't want to see your penis.
Yeah, like
this is the thing we're discussing right now.
Yes.
What do you think this is, Watchmen?
Well, no, and it's it just goes to show like that. Talk? No, just some of that like very, very timed 80s banter that they did in comics back then.
Could the Silver Surfer's dick kill a werewolf? That's the question.
So at the end of our story,
I hurt myself. I'm hurting myself on that one. Ah! Oh, okay.
So Sorry.
And we're back.
Okay. And we're back. So anyway, speaking of getting hard, like we have U.S. agent and he's in his.
Why is U.S. agent hard?
He's hard. He's rock hard. He says in the beginning, it's like one of the beginning. I think it was like when he first showed up. It actually says it's like he's rock hard.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see. I didn't register that. That's one of those things that I just try to pass over so I can enjoy the comic.
Well, no, it
fucking
just
rock hard.
Well, pretty much, just what it goes to show is just the whole, the way it was written at the time, and I really got to say, at the time, I don't want to say like we live in a cancel culture right now. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily a conversation for a comic book show.
Nope.
Okay. So that being said,
and we're back.
Yeah, because you know why? I actually lost where I am. So hold on.
That's good. Just don't even bring up cancel culture. It's too hot.
All right.
I think we all agree on the. I think if we had a conversation about it, we'd all agree. But let's not talk about it.
All right. Okay. All right. So ready?
And we're back.
So our issue, pretty much ends with John Walker like talking to himself in his room. At the picture of his parents.
Yeah. Like a full-on conversation.
And not understanding why the Scarlet Witch was so upset. And I mean, there we go. That was like West Coast Avengers number 45 in the books. And I don't know about you guys, but if that being a 4-issue story, I knew at this point in the series they had me hooked like a soap opera. You know what I mean?
It makes you think about how much story they could get through in a short period of time back then.
Exactly.
I love this. Great Lakes Avengers. No, really.
So
that's a serious thing.
So pretty much, the way we end it is we don't have White Vision versus our MCU Vision. We just have White Vision. He, at this point though, he's more of just an android.
White Vision.
So my question for you guys is, Chris, I'll ask you first, how much more does this make you want to read this series? Are you going to stick only with this series, or are you going to go find out about US Agent or Hawkeye and Tigra?
No, so as a reader, you're asking me how I would do this if I had not read the books that I've read. So from the perspective of our followers, yeah, no, so I just read this series for the first time. I'm not interested in Tigra. I think that they wrote her kind of badly in this 4-issue series. Not that she's a badly written character, she's a great character, but she requires, 20, 40 issues for you to be like, oh, she's got a great power set. Oh, she really becomes useful in a bunch of situations for the team.
But you really don't care about her.
You don't care about her. Hawkeye, also written interestingly in this series. He seems kind of like he doesn't feel confident as a leader, and US Agent is gonna fucking take his place as leader of the West Coast Avengers. US Agent is a fucking 8.5 on the Scott Summers sale. I don't care about these people, but I care definitively about what's happening to the Scarlet Witch. So if the goal of West Coast Avengers, if the goal of this writer was to make me keep caring about the book that he was going to keep writing, yeah, I'm here. He did a great job at that.
So, Woody, my question for you is: you really seem to enjoy the art of this. Would you enjoy this story more if it was written today, or how it's written in 1989?
Ooh.
Knowing the style that they have now, what
language could use updating.
That's what I mean.
The verbiage could use updating.
I definitely think this is a product of its time. I think this is a late 80s, early 90s situation. But could this situation happen in a modern time? I believe so. I think we saw that in Wanda Vision. So some of these ideas being taken from past lore, things like that. So I like this. The bones of the story is an interesting story. I think that the fluff around it could be changed and brought into the future, but again, I'm a sucker for this type of 80s art, and like the dot work and all that shit. That gets me going in the morning.
That's cool. I really wouldn't mind seeing Marvel do a updated Vision Quest reboot. I think that would.
Well, I think they could now.
You just did, right? You watched Wanda Vision.
But
well,
like now but I want to
read it. I want to read it.
Spoilers. When he flies away, it's like that. This is Vision Quest. I think her trying to get his memory back is going to be a big thing for her. Now that there's this shell of a Vision that can exist.
So let me ask you this: do you think we're going to finally see Wonder Man in Doctor Strange 2? Would that be a good place to introduce him?
I thought we were going to see Wonder Man in this. So I really have to reassess where I think we're going to see him. And I've got an idea, and it's a bit of a rogue theory, but I feel like Multiverse of Madness is going to be kind of about Wanda getting the kids back, right? That's going to be a part of that.
Yep.
And which, by the way, read the next 10 issues of West Coast Avengers. Yep. And I think that if they wanted to do not a season 2 of WandaVision, but they could come back after Doctor Strange and do a series called Vision Quest that would be strictly about this story, and it would kick ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even a just Disney Plus movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'd love to see that. I'm afraid that Marvel Studios is going to do to the MCU what Marvel did to comics in the early 80s and 90s, and that is oversaturate the market and just flap. It's
That's
I
a
hate
big
to say
conversation
this.
to have. That's a big conversation to have.
It is.
I just
But
thought of something. Marvel Dubios.
well, so that brings us up to next week, guys. What we're actually going to do is we are going to be having ourselves a Wanda Vision roundup show. Pretty much talking character events, the House of M, Vision Quest, and the three of us talking some WandaVision.
Where I talk shit about WandaVision for
Well,
We're going to
and
talk shit about WandaVision. We're going to have further reading lists for anyone that wants to expand upon these stories that we touched on here and that get touched upon in the show. And also, Woody will get a little bit touched upon during the show as well.
absolutely. And so
touch me.
in the comments, guys, what questions do you have left on Vision Quest? Was there anything we didn't answer? Was there anything we fucked up on? Were we too high and we don't know what the fuck we're talking about?
Aurora.
Remember to hit the like, subscribe button, and leave your comments down below. After that, we are going to be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we kind of got a week in between. The shows on Disney Plus start. So we are
I'm going to spend
looking
6
forward
weeks
to
talking about
that.
Baron Zemo.
Oh, Baron Zemo is amazing. He's
My boy.
that's my boy. Of course, everything we're reading today is brought to you by Marvel Unlimited and Comixology. And of course, Chris Funk Farm. Thank you so much. Remember to hit like, subscribe, leave your comments or questions below. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Did we do a good job or were we too fucking high? I'm pretty high. So join us next time as we smoke comics and read chronics. For the Chronic Book Club, Mike Wood.
Yeah.
Chris Jakes.
Howdy hi.
And I'm Al Taylor. And until next time, keep twisting papers, keep flipping pages.